Sorry, I had a mouthful of pineapple juice then. Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. And it's Crazy Friday today. So, in this crazy world we're living in, we're on Friday. If you're watching this live, if you're not watching this live, hello, replay crew. If you're lurking, hello. And I'm going to say hello to the people that are actually participating in the chat in a moment. So, yeah, it's Friday. It's beautiful. If you don't know about me, my name's Vicky Marie. I am based in mainland Spain, where it is absolutely gorgeous today. It's 20 degrees currently. It's going to be a lovely day. I'm going to get on the sunroof later. I'm going to try and get a few rays because we've had this terrible weather for at least a month. So it's so nice that, Friday's my day off as far as Spanish classes are concerned, because that's the other thing that I do. I teach Spanish. I'm going to talk about that a little bit in this video. What I've decided to do in this video is obviously I'm going to talk about the main subject, which is about Dawn and Andrew Searle and the reason now the French authorities have announced what they think happened to this British couple. And we've been following this case. It's a very sad case. A British couple found dead at their home in France, and there's been a lot of conjecture about what happened. And what I'm going to tell you about today is what the French authorities are now saying happened, which I think was something that we suspected. But some people aren't sure, usual sort of thing. At the end of the day, when these occurrences happen, really, unless there's any surviving witnesses or CCTV footage, it'll always be a bit of a mystery, won't it, exactly what happened? But anyway, I'm going to be telling you about what the French authorities have decided that's happened. And the other thing I thought I'd do today, we're just going to have a general chat. I'm going to tell you about my Spanish classes. I'm going to show you a nice video that came up on my Facebook memories of one of my dogs when he was a little baby. We're going to look at some body cam police last night in Members Live. We looked at a couple of body cam videos of police arrests, which I always find them fascinating. And honest to God, every time you think you've seen it all, something else comes up. And we're going to look at a police body cam video. So it's going to be a little bit of a mixture. I should have called this video something else. It's like a potpourri of different things. Just that hopefully you might find interesting, that we can all watch together. And personally, these police body cam videos always prove to me, sometimes they do prove police incompetence. Because police, law enforcement, I should say, because most of these are from America, because America is a country that's transparent with its body cams and things. You don't get so much transparency in the UK or other countries. You never really get these videos released in other countries, but the USA, for all its faults and foibles, for one thing it's good at is transparency with these kind of things. And, I just watch them with my jaw open, really. No, because what these law enforcement have to face sometimes, and they never know what they're walking into. And this one that we're going to look at today, oh my God, I could not have done it, not for £1 million. What this guy did, the policeman, the situation that he entered into it's like a horror movie. That's what it's titled. Policeman walks into a horror movie. That's how it feels. So they are brave. Most law enforcement officers, they're brave. They walk into situations that are very difficult, and they get a lot of bad press because some of them are incompetent. But really, I think the vast majority of them are. And whatever, they lay their life on the line every day to protect their communities. Sorry, I thought I was going to sneeze then, but it didn't happen. Anyway, if I suddenly sneeze, That's allergies. There's a lot of allergies about that's what the hot weather brings. And mosquitoes. Mosquitoes have reared their ugly little heads. I've had a couple of mosquito bites. As soon as the weather starts getting better, unfortunately, they come out as well. So we're going to talk about quite a few different things, aren't we? And whatever comes up while we're, I'm planning on, don't have any classes later, so I'm going to stay on as long as anybody wants to listen to me waffle on. And well, maybe not too long because, my voice starts to give out after a while. And then I need food. And then, of course, I want to go and sunbathe. But anyway. Okay, so where am I? Oh, so thank you. Thank you to all of you that are subscribers. Thank you to all of you who watch my videos, like my videos, participate in any positive way, send me emails, suggest cases. We're going to start, there's a case that I'm going to pursue sort of big time, but anyway, I'm not going to, I'm saving that. Of course, Sunday, we're talking about, we're going to do a Sunday service. Sunday will be the first time that I'm going to do a positive sort of non-religious spiritual service where we're going to say some prayers. We're going to send positive thoughts out to people that need it. That's what we're going to do on Sunday. And what I'm hoping is if it has a good following, we're going to do that every Sunday. That's good. I've never done, well, apart from the members live on a Thursday, which is a regular thing. I tend to be a bit ad hoc, don't I? Sort of come on when I can. It's difficult for me with other things going on with work and all sorts of things. It's difficult sometimes to set exact times when I'm going to do videos, but I'm going to try and change that a little bit. I'm going to try and change that up, maybe think more about recording videos beforehand so that it doesn't matter what chaos happens in my life. The trouble is with lives, obviously, you don't know what's going to come up. I'm literally, nearly always, I'm literally just about to go live. Happened last night with the members live, 10 minutes before going live. All hell lets loose for other things. I mean, nothing mega, but just things that I had to deal with. And I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to even do the members live. Anyway, I did do the members live and we did it and I think it went really well. But, this is the trouble when you do lives and when you're a YouTuber, which at the end of the day, YouTubers, we're just people in our living rooms, doing, this is a job in one way, but it's more of a hobby than a job. And it's not a job like where we're going out to do it and we're going to work and that's it. I literally can be sat in my living room ready to start a live, got it all set up and everything. And then, something happens in life, so we can easily get distracted. So, yeah, maybe I need to start thinking more about recording videos so I know that I can put them out at certain times. But I also know that people like lives. I'm always trying to keep my followers happy. Some people like lives. They like the waffle. They like to chat to each other. Other people don't. They like a video that they're just going to watch. They don't want me to talk at all sometimes. Just want me to show, I don't know, whatever it is I'm showing. So I do try and sort of put something out for everyone so everyone's happy. So, yeah, I'm going to look at that. So what I really like to do is have a fixed timetable, if you like, or, that I do this on a Monday, that on a Tuesday, etc. And one thing that's always going to be the same is the members live on a Thursday evening. That's always going to happen. And even whether you can meet that, actually join that live or not, you can always watch it later. That's going to be a certainty. I'm hoping this Sunday, and that will be a live, the Sunday live, the sort of, sending out positive thoughts to people who need it. That's going to be a regular thing. And then after that, what I'd like to do is set something for more or less every day, probably except for Saturday, which will be like a day off, if you like. But I may still do things if things come up, because the other thing is, I talk about obviously true crime and things like that. So things come up, don't they, where you can't forecast it. You know, if I say, oh, right, I'll be here on Thursday, but between here and Thursday, lots of different things can happen. So they're ad hoc things that will be extra. But what I'd like to do is a sort of a set timetable of definite things. And then anything else in between, you know, just depends how it happens, you know, life. Okay. So there you go. So yeah, thank you to everyone who is a member. You know, the members are the mainstay of my channel. You know, thank you so much. If you're a member, that is so helpful to support my channel in lots of ways. And our members' lives, they're so nice. They are just so nice. I mean, all the lives are nice and all my followers are nice. But, you know, there's something special, isn't there, about the members' lives. Thank you to people who send me a super chat, buy me a Ko-fi, send me nice emails or leave. I've had some lovely sort of comments left. Thank you so much. Honestly, you really don't know how much that means to me, because some mornings if I wake up and I think, oh, I don't know if I want to do a video today. Is anyone even bothered? And then people send me these nice messages and it makes me, you know, it gives me a boost, if you like, because I'm just a human being. And that's something to remember. You know, YouTubers, we're human beings just like police or like, you know, I don't know, plumbers or anybody. We're just human beings. We have good days, we have bad days, we get angry, we get sad, we get depressed. Things bother us or they don't bother us. You know, we're just human beings, just like everybody else. So some days, like, trolls can bother you. Some days trolls don't bother you. Sometimes nice, bad comments, just like water off a duck's back. Other days, bad comments are horrible. You know, so we're all, this journey, we're all on. This is what I like to say, and I believe 100%. We're all on the same journey. We were all born. We're all going to die. We've all got our problems to face, and you know, these problems are manifold. You know, they're various. There's so many different problems in life. It's a wonder anyone gets through it, really. It's like a video game, isn't it? It's like, oh my God, you just think you're going along okay and you come up against a wall, or, you know, you fall off the cliff, or, you know, something happens. We've just got to get on with it, and we're all in it together, and we should support each other, shouldn't we? The only people we don't support are twonks. Yeah, people who do horrible, or twonkesses, people who do horrible things to others. They're the only people we don't support. But we support each other. It doesn't matter if we have different views. It doesn't matter if we have different opinions. It doesn't matter if we have different religions. It doesn't matter if we're different colours. It doesn't matter if we have different sexualities. None of that matters. We're all human beings trying to do the best we can in a difficult situation. But what we don't do, or we try not to do, sometimes we hurt people unintentionally, but we try not to hurt people, don't we? There you go. I've got all that off my chest. That feels better already. So I'm going to say hello to people now waiting patiently in chatting to each other. Thank you for being here. It's always nice when people join in chat. Hi, David. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Angel. Hi, Mara. Hi, Heather. Oh, the gangs. Yeah, do you enjoy your dancing? You enjoyed your dancing last night, Heather? We always have a little dance during the members' live. Well, if not a literal dance, a figurative one. Yeah. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Laurie. Oh, thank you, Michelle. Yeah, that Munchausen's by proxy, Kelly, that you're talking about. Of course, that was what's her name had, wasn't it? Or supposedly Gypsy Blanchard's mum, Dee Dee. Yeah, it's a terrible thing. And the other one who had that was what was that other nurse? Not Lucy Letby, the other baby killer. Oh God, what was her name? Bev Allett. She's supposed to have had it, isn't it? They do it for attention, don't they? Hi, Mello. Oh. Yeah. Well, that's it. Some people just like me waffling on about stuff. Some people don't like the waffle. Some people, Anyway, we just try and keep everyone. Hopefully, there's a bit for everyone to find interesting. So, what I've been doing lately is, doing a live like this with maybe talking about a few different things, and then chopping it up into smaller bits. But they don't get so many views. It's interesting, really. I think people, they obviously, depending on the algorithm. I don't understand how the algorithm works on YouTube. I don't follow the algorithm. I don't do a video and think, how's this going to fit in with my algorithm? I do a video that I think, oh, this is interesting. I'd like to talk about this, and I think my chatters will be interested in this. And sometimes that bypasses the algorithm. That's just the way it is. What I've found, if people just stick to talking the same old crap all the time, they tend to hit into the algorithm. But then the other thing I've noticed is then they've just got to find more and more about talking about nothing, as long as it's on the same subject. And that's when I think people make things up, or YouTubers make things up, because they're trying to stick to the algorithm. So say I was talking about Madeleine McCann a lot, and then you want to stick in that out, you get into the algorithm and start picking up views. So then you're going to just keep talking about it over and over again, even though there's nothing really new to say, but just because you're sticking with the algorithm. Maybe that works for your YouTube views and your YouTube clicks and stuff, and maybe even your subscribers. That's probably why, my channel grows. What's that horrible word? Exponentially. It grows slowly. It could grow quicker if you just stick to the same thing all the time. But, I'm just not going to do that. I can't do it, because when I do a video, whatever video I do, I've got to feel like doing it. I can't just do a video just for the sake of the algorithm, can I? Think, oh, well, the algorithm will like this. Because I've got to, ultimately, I've got to do it because I like it. And then I've got to hope that my followers will like it as well. But the thing is, if you haven't got the enthusiasm for a video, because you're just doing it because it's in the algorithm, blah, de, blah, de, blah, de, blah, it's not going to, it's not going to be as much fun for me, is it? And it's got to be fun for the YouTuber. I say fun, it's got to be interesting. Because otherwise, why would you even feel like doing it? Anyway, never mind. Yeah, Nicola Bulley always gets a wide audience. But again, how long can you keep, I've covered Nicola Bulley so much when it was all happening. I just feel now with Nicola, I still don't feel that we know the full truth about what happened to Nicola. I really do not feel that. But I don't believe in conspiracy theories I don't believe it was the police cover-up or any of that. I don't believe that. I've got my own ideas what I think happened, but I have no evidence for it. So I'm not going to, just talk about it. And then the family don't want it to be talked about. So that's the other thing, because what's important is when you're covering crime or what you think may be a crime, you've got to be on the family side, haven't you? You've got to think that you've got the family behind you who want you to help. You can't go upsetting the family, but if you don't know what's going on. And, that's my opinion anyway. And, we can go over it and go over it and go over it. But the only thing that will change anything in the Nicola Bulley case is evidence that comes up, that something more happened or didn't happen. No good somebody going on YouTube accusing of, old ladies of pushing her into the water. What am I going to do? Say, oh, yeah, that's what happened. No, of course it didn't. I don't believe it happened anyway. But even if I did believe that's what's happened, there's no proof that that's happened. So, you just sort of can't go on and on and on about the same thing. Just can't. It's pathetic, really. There's so many other cases out there. That's the other thing that you've got to remember. There's cases out there where families are dying for people to help, where families long for exposure. They want their missing person to be found or the murderer to be found. They want it. So they're the ones that deserve our attention, in my opinion. Whether the algorithm wants it or not is a whole different thing. But the families of victims or missing people, people with who are living day in, day out, not knowing what's happened to their loved one, they're the ones that deserve our attention, in my opinion. Anyway, so let's get on to talking about Dawn and Andrew, first of all. We'll talk about them first of all. And then we'll look at we'll look at Rocky's little video, and that'll cheer us up after we've looked at this, because this is a very sad case. I think whichever way you look at it, my thoughts now are poor Dawn. It's harder to feel sorry for. What am I doing here? Put my own video up there. That's not what I was trying to do. It's hard now to feel sorry for Andrew, because Andrew Searle, the husband, now the French authorities have said that they're pretty much certain it is a red rum self-deletion. Originally it was thought that maybe it was a robbery gone wrong. But it seems now, the police, to be honest, right from day one, they were never making any apparent urgent search for anybody else, were they, in this case? And, it always felt right from the beginning that I've got to call him, I want to call him a twonk now, because he's murdered. As far as the French authorities are concerned, this is what they're saying. He has killed Dawn for whatever reason. Maybe an argument about money. Could be an argument about anything. Maybe she was leaving him. This is what I mean, is we're never going to know, really, probably, unless there's some digital evidence that might come out. We're never going to know what triggered this horrible event. So this is a British couple living in France, living the dream. So that you just never know, do you? Like, you see these sort of, look at this photo, it looks like, living the dream in France. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, God. I'm always pressing the wrong button on these things. What was trying to put it on full screen for them, that's right. So living the dream. Hi Joanne. It's just shows you can't believe everything you see on Instagram. You get a lot of their photos were sort of like this, blue skies. She was quite significantly younger than him, maybe 10 years younger than him. They'd not that long been married, but they were living in Musselburgh and moved to France. And now French officials investigating their deaths have said it was murder followed by suicide. I've got to say it's the most logical thing, I think. And I don't know what happened that day. I thought it was strange since I saw the video of him buying the lottery tickets. We'll have a look at that in a minute. Because although some people say she was waiting in the car outside, I don't know, but he looked very stressed to me. One way or another, he looked, the people in the shop, and of course they know him better than I do. He went in that shop to buy his lottery tickets on a regular basis, or to buy cigarettes or whatever he bought. And they said he was acting normally, but straight away when I saw him, I thought he looked totally stressed. Just a feeling that I got off him. And it seems like there may have been some financial problems. Now, of course, a lot was made of his previous job, which was exposing sort of criminal gangs, like following money trails and stuff like that. But then the police said no, because he was anonymous in that job. It wasn't a job where anybody would have known who he was and came after him, Also, I didn't believe that for a minute, because I think if it was a professional hit, it would have been so much more professionally executed, if you pardon the expression. So basically, Dawn was found in the garden, surrounded by jewellery. The police think that was an attempt to make it look like a robbery. She had trauma to the head. But I think as well, reading between the lines, they think she was dragged out there, not that she died out there. It's likely that she died in the bedroom. And why would thieves drag her out there into the garden? I think that he killed her and he made it to look, he was initially hoping to make it look like a robbery. Is that why he went off and bought the lottery tickets, to give himself an alibi? And then maybe he just couldn't live with it, or he just realized that, you know, it wasn't going to happen, or maybe he had so many money problems. You know, maybe she was waiting outside the lottery shop, and maybe it was not, that wasn't to do with giving himself an alibi. But did his money problems just, you know, overcome him, and then he sort of realized what he'd done to Dawn and just couldn't face it all? And then, of course, a lot of people are saying because he HUNG'd himself, or HANG'd himself on a radiator. Now, a lot of people go, oh, you know, you couldn't do it on a radiator. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Unfortunately, I have a friend whose brother did it from a radiator. Also, you can do it from like door handles and stuff like that. I think when people think of HANGING, you know, you think of the noose and somebody jumping off something, but it's not, it doesn't have to be like that at all. So, you know, I'm not going to go into the details of it on here, but if you're not sure about that, I would just say Google it, because it, you know, of course he could have done it himself. Of course he could. And it's wrong to say that he couldn't have done that to himself. Of course he could. So, French officials investigating the deaths of a British couple in their home in southwest France have said it was murder followed by suicide. The bodies of Andrew and Dawn Searle, who previously lived in East Lothian in Scotland, were found on the 6th of February at their home in Les Péquiers, about an hour north of Toulouse. And it's a very remote place, if you like. The village is remote, but the house actually was not remote. The house is surrounded by other houses. So that was the other thing. It was felt that people would have heard a commotion. And nobody heard anything until her body was found. So her body was found in the garden with severe wounds to her head, while her husband's body was found inside. And the prosecutor in charge of the case has told the BBC there is no evidence that another person was involved in their deaths. So he had no defense wounds whatsoever. You know, so that's so unlikely that somebody could do that to him without causing some sort of wounds, isn't it? Whereas poor Dawn, she did have severe head trauma. So I think this revelation will be very devastating to their families, because it's bad. Well, you know, it's bad enough to know that they'd been killed one way or another, but to find out that it was most likely a red rum self-deletion, just be awful, wouldn't it? So yeah, the prosecutor said there is no evidence that another person was involved in their deaths. So Mrs. Searle, 56, so she had so many years in front of her. Right, I'm going to light a candle now. I can't light it for him. I cannot, I just can't. If he's murdered this woman, he's a twonk as far as I'm concerned. So I just cannot light it for him. This is for Dawn. And I don't know if you can see it actually. This is for Dawn and for the years that were taken away from her. You know, she was 56 years old. She was living in front. Maybe she wanted to leave him. You know, it's. I always felt right from the beginning that this was something that if, you know. Joanne, no, the police are saying now it wasn't a robbery. It's a red rum self-deletion. It wasn't a robbery, because although all the jewellery was strewn around, nothing was taken. So but the only thing that to me is, so rest in peace, Dawn. And Andrew, you know what? You're just probably spinning round atoning for your sins now, so I can't talk about you. The only thing that was strange is they didn't find the weapon, did they? Whatever he hit Dawn over the head with, there was no weapon. But I think he could have got, when he went to buy the lottery tickets, etc. Did he dispose of it then? I mean, that weapon, whatever it is, could be anywhere, couldn't it? And I think what's probably happened, and this seems to be what they think has happened, he's done it. He's thought about trying to cover it up as a robbery, trying to make it look like a robbery. And then he's just thought, oh, you know, can't do this. So let's see. Let's go back. So they'd previously lived in Musselburgh and they'd married in France in 2023, and they'd lived in the Aveyron region for 5 years. So according to his LinkedIn page, Mr. Searle, who was 62, had previously worked in financial crime prevention at companies, including Standard Life and Barclays Bank. So this is their house. So you can see there's garden all around it, but there are, you know, if you can see there are other houses. They're not obviously right next door in the sense of, you know, just like a semi-detached house or whatever, but there are a lot of houses round about. It's not as remote as, you know, it's not just one house on its own in the middle of nowhere. So it's thought that, and the other houses have CCTV camera. The CCTV cameras have been checked. There is nothing on them of anybody else being in the area. So police were alerted to the incident in February by a neighbour of the couple who had gone to check on them when they failed to turn up for a planned dog walk. And the area around the property was sealed off while investigations took place, and local police called in expert help from Toulouse. A helicopter and drone were sent to the site. Post-mortem examinations confirmed that Mr. Searle died from hanging, and Mrs. Searle suffered multiple blows to the head with a blunt and sharp-edged object. Now, the other sort of interesting thing, if you like, about this case is Dawn's son is Callum Kerr, who's a famous actor, bless him. So he's now having to deal with the fact that his mum is likely red-rummed by her husband. And look at that, you know, they look so happy there. It's so, well, I'm glad they had happy days. I mean, the thing is, it's ironic, isn't it, when terrible things happen later on, and looking back at these happy memories, at least these were happy days. I'm glad that people, you know, Dawn had a happy day. She looks happy there. She's marrying, her son's giving her away. It was probably a beautiful day, and I'm glad she had that. It's just unfortunate that she didn't know she was marrying a complete twonk. So Dawn Searle's son, the Hollyoaks actor Callum Kerr, issued a statement on social media at the time of their deaths. He said, at this time, Callum Kerr and Amanda Kerr, that must be his sister, are grieving the loss of their mother, Dawn Searle, Nee Smith, while Tom Searle and Ella Searle are mourning the loss of their father, Andrew Searle. So all this, you know, it was bad enough then, but now I'm sure they've been told what the findings are, etc. Just so difficult, isn't it? Difficult to know your mum's been red-rummed by her husband, and difficult to know that your father is a twonk that has probably killed her. So he requested that the family's privacy be respected during this difficult period. And Mr. Kerr, 30, walked his mother down the aisle when she married Mr. Searle at a ceremony in France in 2003. So let's have a look at in buying the lottery ticket. I'm still struck by this. To me, just something in his face. He just looked completely stressed. Let's have a look. Look at him. Is it just me, or just felt this vibe off him where it just did not look there? That's something about his face there. Yeah. I mean, what has he got? Teeth missing? I mean, I don't know. The thing is, what can happen is when people go to, I mean, I'm not saying this is what happens to them. I'm just talking about my experience of people who live in Spain, who've gone off to live in raw. Everyone thinks, oh yeah, go off and live in the, go off and live in the countryside. It was lovely, and it's not as all it's cracked up to be. And also sometimes people can be too isolated. If you've got a couple like that isolated out somewhere, I know there was neighbours, and it seems like they had a good relationship with the neighbours. Or the neighbours could have, when it first happened, the neighbours were saying, oh no, there's no way he could have done anything to his wife. But let's be honest, how often have we heard that? Oh no, they were such a lovely couple, they were so in love. Oh no, he definitely wouldn't have done anything to her, or vice versa, because sometimes wives kill their husbands as well. How often do you hear that? And I say all the Instagram photos. But what I've found over here in Spain, and I've been here a long time, and I've met a lot of different people, thousands of people that have come through my doors learning Spanish over the years. And some of them, if anyone ever says about going to live in the campo, in the countryside, I always advise them against it. I mean, people never take any notice of you, even though I've been here all these years. I do know a little bit. I might not know much, but I know a lot about living in Spain. And if you go off and live in the countryside, there's a lot of nice things about it, of course. Yeah, lovely. I think it's most British people's idea of heaven, isn't it? Because in Britain we all live on top of each other because it's such a small country with too many people. So the idea of going and living somewhere out in the campo. But the thing is, what you have to remember is those houses are much cheaper as well normally. Well, there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that, because once you go out and live in the campo, you are quite isolated. It's normally got different kinds of problems out there. There might be problems with water. There might be problems with electricity. You still end up getting problems with your neighbours. They're just that bit further away, but there's always a problem. Always seems to be problems about the boundaries and things. You're miles away from hospitals. You're miles away from shops. You've got to get in your car and drive everywhere that you go. If there's bad weather, you're completely cut off. There's a lot. I personally would not like to live right out in the campo. I had a partner, a boyfriend who had a house right out in the campo. Oh my God, if they just went to the shops and I was stuck in the house, I'd be terrified, because you feel very exposed. These places get robbed. They do get robbed a lot. Because they're normally gangs of thieves that break it. They don't normally murder people. It's unusual to murder someone. So that's the other thing you've got to remember. What these gangs normally do is they'll go into the house, they'll tie up the people or whatever, and then they'll just take their time then, or they'll watch them for a while, wait till they're out and go in. They don't want to kill anybody. They definitely don't want to kill anyone. But of course, if they get surprised by someone, it's not to say that it can't happen. But that's quite unusual, I think. So more common is they break into the houses, they tie the people up, and then they've got all the time in the world then, because the house is isolated. They've got all the time in the world to sort of take whatever they want. Sometimes they take the whole kitchen out. They don't only steal normally I think if somebody's robbed in a built up area, they're in and out as quickly as possible, aren't they? But when they rob in these sort of places, they've got all the time in the world. They literally sometimes take the whole kitchen out with them, all the furniture. You wouldn't believe it, the stories that I've heard of what's happened to people. So, yeah, I think, you know, I've forgotten why I started saying this now. So, yeah, I would never advise anyone to go and live in a camper. You might think it's the ideal life. In my personal opinion and my experience of living in Spain and the people that I've known who did move to the campo, they've regretted it. And as I say, what Spanish people will normally do is they will normally have a house in the campo and a house in the towns, you know, nearby town. So they might go to the campo and spend weekends there, but not to live all the year round. That's unusual for a Spanish person to do. They'll have their place in the pueblo, like maybe in my little village, they'll have a house. That's where they live. That's where they send their kids to school, where they're registered with the doctor, where they, you know, live their normal life. And yeah, they might have a casa in the Casa del Campo, they call them, little country house. Sometimes it hasn't even got electricity or water. And they'll just go there at the weekends, or, you know, fiestas or whatever, but not to live all the year round there. Anyway, so let's carry on looking at this. Let's carry on. Where's it gone? I've got to find out. Yeah, so I thought he looked. Oh, and the other thing I was going to say, and then sometimes people, they let themselves go. You know, I'm looking at him there, I'm thinking, has he got a tooth missing? But sometimes people do that because it's hot and sunny. They don't bother dressing up. They don't bother. They're out in the country. They think it doesn't matter what they look like. You know, honestly, they drink a lot. I mean, we all drink more than we should in Spain. I think it's a common thing. If people aren't on drinks, on drinking, they're normally on drugs, or maybe a combination of both. You know, there's something about the lifestyle, the sunshine, and it's so easy. You know, get a beer, do that. You know, and I've said to you before, if people have an alcohol problem before they come to Spain, they shouldn't come to Spain, because it's going to be 10 times worse just because of the whole environment, and it's cheaper. So sometimes people let themselves go a little bit, and it's hard to explain. I know what I'm saying, and maybe you will or won't understand what I'm saying. But people who perhaps before lived in a life, you know, that was a business life, you know, where they had to dress up, wear suits, you know, women had to dress up and put their face on every day. And then they go out and live in the campo, and they don't bother looking after themselves properly because they think it doesn't matter. And you've got to be very careful with that. I'm not as guilty of it as anyone. You know, there's some days you get up and you think, oh, I can't be bothered washing my hair. I can't be bothered. But the YouTube channel is great for me because it means I have to at least do something to myself most of the time. Or I can, of course, take the camera off. But, you know, during COVID, YouTube was a saviour for me. I wasn't doing the crime stuff then. I was doing the Spanish classes. But if it wouldn't have been for having to dress up for YouTube, I don't know if I would have had a shower for weeks, or, you know, done my hair for weeks, because you just weren't going out anywhere. So you were thinking, what's the point? And you know, it's important that you do look after yourself. It's important for you and the way you feel. Don't matter how it looks to other people. It is important. You do feel better when you've put a bit of lipstick on or done your hair or whatever. You do feel better. But sometimes when you're fed up or depressed, got problems or whatever, it is an effort, isn't it? It is an effort to get up in the morning and make yourself look nice. Or, you know, and it's not about whether it being beautiful or, you know, everybody, all you can do is do the best that you can do for you. Then you feel better, don't you? You feel better when you've had a shower. You feel better when your hair's done, when you've got, well, I do anyway. But sometimes it's easy just not to bother. Well, that's okay for one day here and there. We all have our lazy days, you know, duvet days where you're not going out anywhere. So what's the point? But not every day for weeks. And I don't know, there's something about this man that I thought it straight away when I saw him. I mean, it was February, so February is a time where it would have been cold. But yeah, he looks to me, and that's just a personal opinion, he looks as stressed as anything. So where is she while he's buying these lottery tickets? Is she in the car outside, or has he already killed her and has he come out for an alibi? So she said he was acting normally, but see, that's it. I don't know how he normally acted. But anyway, bought lottery tickets. Had he already killed Dawn then? I don't know. So, yeah, what do you wear when he's been doing? I don't know, Mel. I don't know. Maybe should have put his suit on. Uh, Listen, there's nice things about being out in the. I'm just talking from my experience and my thoughts, and people that I know that have gone out to live in the country and the problems that they've had as a result of it, all sorts of things, and then don't forget as a couple. So if you're in a couple, just the two of you, you're really under pressure then when you're right out sort of isolated from it. That's another thing I think people don't realize when they come to live in Spain, because it's everyone's dream, isn't it? Oh yeah, retire to a place in the sun. It's like a dream that a lot of British and other European people have. But the thing is, if you've been married, I mean, they hadn't been married that long, but there's a lot of couples who've been married maybe for years, but of course they've both been working, or at least one of them's been working, so they've probably hardly even seen each other for years. And then suddenly they come out to Spain, they're retired, and they're seeing each other day in, day out. They're in each other's company and they get on each other's nerves. That's fair, because they'll go from, I knew a very dear friend of mine who unfortunately passed away actually last year. And she lived in a more sort of built up area. She loved it here in Spain. That's how I met her. She lived near where I used to live, her and her husband. And then her husband wanted to go and live in a more isolated place. So they went to live in a more isolated place in the camper. But she hated it because she's a sociable person. Like her husband, he's not really, I don't mean he's not, he's a nice person, he's a lovely guy, but he's not, wasn't that bothered about being somewhere. She used to love being somewhere more central where she could pop out for coffee with the girls and, go to yoga and go to Spanish classes. She came to Spanish classes with me. That's not where I met her, actually. I'd already met her before that. But, everybody's different. Some people crave that social activity or the people around them, and some people don't. Well, she hated it in this place, and they lived there a long, long time. And finally, she got to go back to a more an area more near where we'd met, and then unfortunately died very shortly after of cancer. But luckily she wasn't in that other place when she got cancer, because she would have been completely isolated. They would have had to be making treks to the hospital. We've got hospital just up the road, but she would have had to be making big treks to the hospital and that. So good that she did at least get a chance to see out her days in a more an area that was more suitable for her, with more support, people around, hospital closer. But it's just a shame that she had to spend all those years in a place she didn't like living in. But anyway. David, you nipped down to the other house. Oh, well, I'm still waffling on, so don't worry, you haven't missed much. So let's have a look to see if we've got any other. I don't think we know any more yet. So it's just really the news came out that the police had issued this statement. They'd issued the statement that as far as they're concerned, it's a murder-suicide. Oh, not supposed to say that. A red rum self-deletion. Now, I don't know how things work in France. I presume there'll be some sort of an inquest. And maybe we'll get further details as time goes on. But it's very sad. It's very sad. It was already sad. It's even sadder now. Poor Dawn, it seems like she actually had her life taken away by the person that she loved. I think there's not much sadder than that, really, is it? It's bad enough having your life taken away by someone, but somebody you love, somebody you trusted, just awful, isn't it? Awful, awful, awful. And who knows what the problems were. I think there's definitely financial problems in that, in that man's life. There's been lots of, things said, but nothing concrete come out yet. Eventually it will, and as soon as I hear anything more concrete about what happened, good night, Kelly. As soon as I know anything more concrete about what happened, more details, I'll let you know. Okay, so to cheer us up after watching that, I just want to show you this little video before I go on to the body cam that we're going to look at. Oh my God, stay on for the body cam. It's like a policeman walking into it was the spookiest body cam I've ever seen. Just so spooky, so scary. And as I say, just what law enforcement officers have to walk into sometimes. Terrifying. But I want to show you the picture of my little Rocky. Video came up on my Facebook memories. Just set it up. Hang on. Oh.
Where's it? Where's your toys? Where's your toys?
Let's go back to the beginning. He's so cute, Rocky, and he's still cute, but he was really cute then when he was a little baba.
Rocky, what's it? Where's it? What is it? He's so beautiful. He's a beautiful boy. Rocky. Where's it? Where's your toys? Where's your toys? Yeah, clever boy. Clever boy.
Oh.
Rocky, what's it? Where's it? What is it? He's so beautiful. He's a beautiful boy. Rocky. Where's it? Where's your toys? Where's your toys? Yeah, clever boy. Clever boy.
I thought that would just cheer us up a bit. We'll watch it one more time. We need it cheering up after that sad story. You can always count on dogs to cheer you up, give you a lift.
Rocky, what's it?
Can you believe this was 7 years ago? I cannot believe this little baby is now 7. I need to, in fact, he'll probably be 8 in September.
Where's your toys? Yeah, clever boy. Clever boy.
Little chunky. He's still chunky. Where is he anyway? I'm seeing if he's listening to that.
Rocky, what's
it? He's lying on the chair, and every time I say Rocky, he's like, his ears are pricking up.
Rocky.
Yeah, you when you're a baby. When you're a baby.
Where's it? Where's your toys? Where's your toys? Yeah, clever boy. Clever boy. Rocky.
I love that banana. It had a squeak in it.
What is it? He's so beautiful. He's a beautiful boy. Rocky. Where's it? Where's your toys? Where's your toys? Yeah, clever boy.
Okay. I thought we'd just have a look at that and it might cheer us up. No, yeah, he's not so tiny now, Mara. He's a little chunk. He's a little chubster. He is, but he's beautiful. He's a beautiful dog. He's so clever. He is so clever. Anyway, beautiful, aren't you, baby? Yeah, you know I'm talking about you, don't you? Okay, so I thought that'd cheer us up. Now, the next thing I just want to show you, just a little, let's call this an advert break. I'm just going to put on my video about my books, about my Spanish book, about my Confessions of a Spanish Teacher book. So I don't do my housekeeping very often, and I should do it. And then after this, we're going to watch this really spooky body cam video from America of a policeman on a welfare check, and see what he found there. But first of all, little advert. If you want to learn Spanish, or if you want to find out a little bit more about me, I'm gonna put on my advert for my books. Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Did you ever want to know a little bit more about me and my background, how I came to become interested in true crime? How I ended up in Spain being a Spanish teacher. If you want to know a little bit about me, a little bit more about me as a person, you can find my book, Confessions of a Spanish Teacher, on any Amazon site, wherever you live in the world. And I believe that everyone has a story to tell, and this is my story. So it's the story of how I grew up in Manchester in the UK on a council estate, and very humble beginnings, and my journey through personal tragedies, disastrous romances, and triumphs to become a single mum, a Spanish teacher, and an interpreter living in Spain, and eventually a YouTuber. Reporting on true crime. So it details my various experiences with people and places over 20 years of teaching, over 20 years now. Ooh, where did that go? Of teaching Spanish and interpreting through the backdrop of the recession, financial uncertainty, severe flooding, and living through COVID. I hope you will find it funny, sad, amazing, silly, serious, and stranger than fiction at times. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope to make you angry at least once. I hope to make you cry at least twice, and I hope to make you laugh many, many times. So thank you for all your support on my YouTube channel, and if you want to know a little bit more about me as a person, then you can find out there. So thank you so much. See you very soon in the next video. And as always, till then, may your God go with you. Bye. Hola, soy Vicky. And are you wanting to learn Spanish? Have you been trying to learn Spanish and it's just you can't put the words together? Common thing that people say to me is, I know a lot of words, but I just can't put a sentence together. So I'm here to tell you how you can learn Spanish through English. Learn how to make sentences, not phrase book Spanish. Learn how to ask questions, answer questions, right from beginner or whatever level you are. If you're struggling in putting it all together, there'll be a level I can offer you a solution. So I've been teaching Spanish for over 20 years to English-speaking people. And these are the books that I have written. Break the Language Barrier Level 1 for beginners. Level 2 for intermediate or sort of pre-intermediate. Level 3 intermediate. Level 4 upper intermediate. And level 5 for advanced. There's really level 5 is to practice what you've already learned. So if you've already learned a lot of Spanish, but you want some practice with translations, conversation practice, games, etc., level 5 is for you. If you know more than level 1, in other words, you know how to already speak in the present tense, if your grammar has gone past the present tense but you're struggling with the past tenses, Level 2 is the book for you. All these books are available on Amazon. Any Amazon, wherever you are in the world that you want to learn Spanish, you can order one of my books from Amazon. The other thing you can do, you may be interested in Zoom classes. I've left my contact details here on the video so that you can WhatsApp me or email me if you want to know about Zoom classes and how they work. Or another way you can learn is, along with the book, have recorded classes to learn. So although we're not sort of face-to-face as we would be on a Zoom class, you can still ask me questions. You can watch the class, on the video, watch the class which goes with the book. All the books have everything is, the classes, I can either teach you face-to-face like we're talking now in Zoom classes, or if either your budget doesn't run that far or you haven't got the time for Zoom classes, we can do it as a course where you get the book and you get the actual recorded classes, and you can learn in your own time, but you can still ask me questions by email, just not in the moment because it's not an actual one-to-one class, but you'll find that is reflected in the price. So if you want more details of how you can become better at Spanish, and remember, it's always progress, not perfection that we're looking for. Perfection is impossible. Believe me, if you're going for perfection, that's not going to happen for a long time, if ever. But communication, confidence, fluidity, all those add up to be fluency, don't they? Okay, so my books offer explanations in English, step-by-step, easy-to-follow grammar, gradual build of vocabulary and conversation skills, and all the answers are included, and you always have full internet backup. In other words, you can always email me or WhatsApp me a question and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Okay, so what are you waiting for? If you want to learn Spanish, don't hesitate. Okay, gracias y hasta pronto. Good, that's such a crap video. I've got to do another one at some point. I need another one, yeah. It's a pretty crapo. But anyway, thank you for your patience. For those of you who are still here after watching that. I have to do some housekeeping sometimes. I have to earn a living somehow. Certainly doesn't happen through YouTube, that's for sure. Okay, so now we're going to watch this creepy body. Well, you'll let me know what you think, as always, in comments. But it totally creeped me out. They all do. Honest to God, I think that's something I'm going to do on a regular basis. Maybe I'll do one night a week of a good body cam sort of react, because they fascinate me. Just fascinates me to see, I get up in the morning and I do Spanish classes. And a lot of them I do online. It's not always face to face. I don't have to wonder, whether someone's got a gun, whether there's a dead body in the place that I'm visiting, what I'm going to find there. For the police, for law enforcement in all countries, not just in America. It's just we get to see it in America, don't we? Because in most other countries, I don't think they're quite as transparent with their body cams and things. We get to see body cams in the UK normally. Well, we get to see what they choose to show us. They don't seem to get any freedom of information over it. Whereas in America, you request a body cam and they just send you, they might redact certain things, especially if they're pertinent to a case that's coming up. But we know from what we've seen through Madeline's case, Madeline Soto, we've seen Stefan Stern's interviews, Jen Soto. We didn't see much, did we, with the Richard Allen case, the Delphi case. We didn't see his arrest video, did we? And of course, the thing is, in America, different states are more more free and like Florida is a state that I wonder if I could get the body cam of David Knežević getting arrested. I'd like to see that. I'm going to send off for that. So you have got a chance of getting things in America, but depends on the state. Some states are more private than others. We saw the body cam of Rachel Marin's murderer being arrested, etc. But these are these ones. These are I can't say these are just normal ones. These are not high-profile cases. These are just your day-to-day body cams, of arrests, etc. And as I say, these policemen or police women, they don't know what they're walking into. Now, in this one that we're going to look at, this should never have been allowed, I don't think. This guy, this law enforcement officer who was very young, in his early 20s, not been a policeman very long, went off to do a welfare check on an elderly woman alone. Now, shouldn't go alone either, should you? You should not be going into someone's house alone. I mean, definitely not. So the title for it is Officer Caught in Real Life Horror Movie. Now, don't worry, there's no, you don't see anything gory or anything like that. I don't show things like that. But the suspense of it, and to me, suspense is scarier than anything, in my opinion. So we go into this, who is it? Midwest Safety YouTube channel. Let me just I haven't liked this. What he didn't know is that he might be talking to a killer. Now, gosh, let's have a look.
Just past midnight on November 14th, 2022, a Milwaukee police officer responded to a welfare check in a residential neighborhood. The caller was concerned for their 75-year-old neighbor, who lived with 31-year-old Israel Webb II, a man who shared no familial ties.
Now, that straight away is to me, what is it? Why is a 75-year-old woman living with a 31-year-old man? Israel Webb II. Something I've noticed about American names, as soon as they're called whoever the second or the third or whatever, they're normally a complete twonk. Who calls their child that? I know it's quite common in America, but to me, it just straight away, I just think, what? So 31-year-old Israel Webb II, but they had no family ties. Now, I don't know much about the woman either. Even now, after watching the video, you don't get to see the woman. Her name is Dorothy, 75 years old. What is this man doing living there? But the thing is, quite often, twonks take advantage of elderly people, don't they? So...
was concerned for their 75-year-old neighbor, who lived with 31-year-old Israel Webb II, a man who shared no familial ties. Officers were likely unaware of Israel's criminal history, which included armed robbery, carrying a concealed weapon, theft, and multiple disorderly conduct charges, according to a community.
So this is his record, but a law enforcement officer, a very young one, went off there on his own. What, didn't they check to see any, it feels like there was, it was a bit reckless, a police officer going out there alone. He would have only had to look into this guy's history, and he's got a history of armed robbery, carrying a concealed weapon, theft, and multiple disorderly conduct charges.
Being a concealed weapon, theft, and multiple disorderly conduct charges. According to a community briefing, upon arrival, Israel spoke through a window and agreed to let an officer inside.
So he spoke to the officer through the window and then he let him in. Now, honestly, this is just crazy, the whole thing.
Fair enough. You got an animal or something?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So straight away, that policeman trusts what he says because he says, he says after you. There's no way I'd go in front of him, would you? Go in front of him into that house and he's behind him. Anyway, he says to the officer, after you, and the officer says, oh, have you got an animal or something? And he says, yeah. Well, what you'll find throughout this video is he tells a lot of porcupines, this guy. He does not tell the truth. He is as creepy as F-U-C-K, this guy. And, I just think maybe because this policeman is so young and he's not been a policeman for very long, maybe he hasn't got his spidey sense sorted out yet. Because straight away, when he's trying to me, as soon as I even watched it, and I just thought, there's no way I would have gone into that room first. No way, on God's earth. No way, Jose, as they say.
Here, Israel picks up a steel brake rotor on his way into the residence.
Yeah. He's picked up a weapon, really, as well. He sent the officer into this really dark room. I mean, it is like a horror film, isn't it? He's picked up a great big bloody metal thing, and that officer's just gone in there.
Yeah, wrong.
What, this one?
Yeah.
So he says she's in a room, and he says, oh, this one. He goes, yeah. Now, what you'll see about this guy is quite often he goes, yeah, when really the answer is no. He tells so many porcupines. So then this law enforcement officer just seems to have realised that he has got this great big fucking metal thing in his hand. What's that for? Well, he's not going to say, oh, to knock you over the head, is he?
So far.
Oh, no, to block the door and swing open.
Gotcha.
According to the
Whatever.
community briefing, this is the only entrance and exit in the home. The rotor likely weighs around 20 pounds, more than enough to prevent anybody from quickly leaving or entering the room.
You want to just knock on the door for me?
Right? She's laying on bed.
So he's calling her name. Dorothy opens her bedroom door. He's told the policeman, poor Dorothy is in this room. More porcupines.
Dorothy,
20
where's your bed at?
Yeah.
After you got any lights there?
Yeah.
You got the lights on?
I guess you can pay a bill.
Oh. Wait, where's you going there from?
Yeah, come on.
Right.
What do you mean?
She's right here.
So when the policeman says, will you go in there for me? Because he's trying to get the policeman to go into that room first. God knows what he was going to do to him. He's opened the door to that room, which look at the state of it for a start. God, could you even fit a person in there? The policeman won't go in there first. So he says to him, go in there first. And then he changes what his story then. He says, she's right here. So she's not in the bedroom now. She's here.
Oh. She's right here. Dorothy? Is she sleeping?
Yes.
Is she sleeping? Yes, sir. Oh my God, this man is so creepy. When I was watching this, I was just like, it was like watching a horror film. They just sat there, oh my God, what's going to happen next? So he's taken the policeman in there. He's put the thing up against the door. He said she was in the room and she's not in the room. Now he's saying she's right there and she's sleeping. Bless her.
Okay. How long has she been sleeping for?
Like since 6.
What's the bag for?
She wets the bed.
She wets the bed. Why you gotta cover it like that?
Because it rained, well, I opened the window and stuff.
Okay, you pull the cover back for me?
Dorothy?
Why is she covered up like that? Her face.
She's sleeping.
Alright, just step back for me.
So he finally seems to cotton on. So he's pulled the cover back. He said, why is she covered up like that? He says she's sleeping. So he seems to finally have cottoned on this. I think he's a bit of a rookie policeman. I think that, everything he's done is wrong, because he apparently, there's like a little recap at the end. They've got an ex-policeman on saying the things that he did wrong. First of all, he can't get out of that room now. The exit, apparently one of the rules is, the first rules that you taught at police school, which seems fair enough, always make sure you know where the exit is and that the exit is clear. Never put yourself in a position where you're in a place. And do you know what? I do that anyway. And if I go to a restaurant or anywhere that I go, always make sure I can see the exit and the exit is clear. I don't know why that is really, probably because I've seen so many crime things, and I went out with someone years ago who was a prison officer in Northern Ireland, and he was the same. He had to always sit facing the door. He'd been threatened so many times, and his family and everything over the years. He always, whenever we went out anywhere, he had to sit facing the door. He had to be in the right, these are things you learn when you're in these kind of occupations, I suppose, or you follow a lot of true crime. But this policeman hasn't learnt it yet, has he? He's gone into a room where he's on a welfare check. He doesn't know what's happened to this woman yet. And he's just gone in there, and he's in a position where he can't just get out, because that man, this creepy man who said, first of all, she was in the room. Now he's saying she's sleeping. She wets the bed. But she's covered up. Her face is covered up. He's in between the policeman and the door. I mean, that is just got to be a no-no, hasn't it? Creepy as F-U-C-K.
Miss Dorothy? Miss Dorothy? Dorothy, why don't you got flowers and stuff on her like that? Okay, step back.
Why she got flowers on her? She's dead, he says. So he finally says she's dead. He's put flowers on her. I mean, if this policeman had more experience, I really do think it wouldn't have taken him this long. He's finally clicked, and now he's going to pay the price now for not clicking on sooner.
Miss Dorothy? Dorothy, why don't you got flowers and stuff on her like that? Okay, step back. Step back.
She's dead.
What do you mean she's dead?
She's dead. I was going to call her relatives in the morning.
Okay. Put your hands up.
The phone's in my room.
Put your hands up.
All right.
Turn around. Put your hands behind your back. 5446. Can I get another squad to my location? I'm a supervisor.
Now notice this guy, he does not turn all the way round his back on the police officer, because he's trying to keep an eye on the police officer. He's sussing out how he can get out of this situation. So that woman is dead. He didn't want to. Now, I've got to say, it doesn't seem like he killed her. That's not. She died, it seems, naturally. She's an elderly lady, but who knows if he had anything to do with it. But he was never going to tell anyone she was dead, because she's his meal ticket. Like you saw people in the chat talking about cuckooing and that. Yeah, moving into someone's bloody house, and that's what he's done. He's got a place to live. He's probably been robbing money off her. You just don't know what he's been doing. Has he been selling things? He's been having a great time. Now, she may have died naturally, but the thing is, he was never going to tell anybody that she was dead, because that's his meal ticket out the window, because he's not any relation to her whatsoever. So as soon as he rings her family or whatever, I mean, what did her family think? Do you imagine your mum, your elderly mum, ringing you and saying, oh, this guy's moved in, oh, well, what do you know about him, mum? Oh, nothing. It turns out he's a bloody convicted felon. But this is so dangerous what he's doing now for this policeman, because he's not turning all the way round. He's still trying to keep an eye on the policeman. And, still the policeman is there alone. So anyway, you'll see what happens.
Put your hands behind your back. You don't got any weapons or anything, right? Sir, don't even look at me. Hands behind.
Sorry for it, but that's nothing that always amazes me. When they say, oh, you don't have any weapons on you, do you? And he goes, no, what's he going to say? Yeah, I've got a bloody machete in my pocket. Of course he's not going to say he's got any weapons on him, is he? It just always seems like a stupid question. The thing that, to me, I know, I'm not a police person, but to me, that would have been, hands behind your back, call for backup. Don't take it any further than that until people arrive, because there's no point trying to do something when you're on your own with this person who's as creepy as FUCK, trying to look back at you. Look, he's trying to look at what he's doing. He's just, and he's a big guy. Look at his muscles. Do you know what I mean? This is not some insignificant guy. He's a great, big, muscly guy. And I don't know what the policeman is like. And a policeman, I presume, has got a gun and a taser. Well, we know that he's got a gun and a taser. But he was very inexperienced, this young policeman, I think.
Hey, right? You're looking at me. Don't do that. Why are you looking? No, you're not going to get shot, but you looking at me like that is kind of making me nervous. Stop looking at me. Don't do that. I'm telling you. Stop looking at me. You're going to get tased. You hear me? Just letting you know. Don't do that. All right? I got a taser right now. Okay. Just letting you know. Okay. All right?
Please.
All right?
In the face.
No.
Please in the face.
No.
Her relatives. Call her relatives.
Oh, my
Call her
God.
relatives, please.
It's the tone of his voice as well, isn't it? Just shoot me in the face. Shoot me in the face. This carries on. I'll let you know that now. So he's managed to get one handcuff on him. He hasn't managed to get the other handcuff on him. He's backed up towards the door where the weapon is. The guy, he brought that great big metal thing in as deliberately as a weapon. And now he's got to the door and he's backed up to the door. That policeman cannot get out without going past him. And he's only got one handcuff on. And he keeps begging the policeman to shoot him. Shoot me in the face. Gun in the face.
Don't. Make that little squad 1017, please.
Please.
12-5-7, Super Show also responded. 1017, 5-7-2.
No.
Come work.
Don't move. Just don't move. Put your hands up.
60.
Because you're doing too much moving and you're making me
I'm
nervous.
going
He hasn't even got one on yet.
Just don't move.
10.
I thought he'd got one handcuff on, but he hasn't got any on yet.
Reporting show stone.
I mean, he could have a gun. He
On the ground.
could have a gun, a machete, he could have anything.
On the ground. On your stomach. No, on your stomach.
Please shoot me.
Sir, on your
You
stomach.
gotta shoot me.
Okay. You're doing too much.
Okay, don't take it.
No, you're going to get to it.
Okay, I'm down.
Put your hands behind your back. Now. Hands behind your back. Behind your back. Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back. Put your other hand behind your back.
What was the address again?
Your other hand behind your back. Stop resisting.
I'm not resisting.
Put your hand behind your back. Your other hand. Yep, put it behind your back. Don't move. What you gonna do? Stop resisting. Stop.
According to a community briefing, the officer attempted to handcuff Israel but secured only one wrist before a struggle began. At this time, the officer pressed the emergency button on his radio, signaling for immediate backup. During the altercation, Israel allegedly used this 2.5-foot metal pole and attempted to grab the officer's firearm.
Stop! Stop! You got give me another squad.
So, honestly, I was traumatized by this. So the guy, the accused, if you like, he says to the policeman, "Don't make me kill you. Don't make me kill you." And this guy, of course, now the policeman is realizing and he's shouting and all chaos is broken out, but it's too late in a way. The body cam's fallen off. You know, he should never have got to this point. This was badly dealt with by this young policeman.
Get me down! Sir!
Right in the face.
Stop!
Right in the face.
You will be shot!
Right,
Stop!
right in the face. Please, right in the face.
Stop! Brother.
Okay.
Drop the pole!
Right in the face.
Drop the pole!
Please, right in the face.
Drop the
Right in
pole!
the face. Come on. Right in the face.
Drop the pole!
Right in the face.
Drop!
Do it in the Come on, right in the
Sir.
face. Please, right in the face. Right
Drop
in
the
the face.
pole!
Right in the face. Right in the face. Come on.
Now I'm gonna have to shoot
Right in
you.
the face. Come on. Do it, please. Come on, you don't know what I see. Do it.
Sir,
Do it.
drop the
Do
pole.
it. You don't know what I see. Do it.
Sir,
Right in the fucking face,
Drop
man.
the pole.
Right in the face. Come on. Come on.
drop the
Come
pole.
on. Right in the face, man. Please.
Drop
Right in the face.
on the ground now.
Right in the face. Come on.
On the ground.
Make it quick.
On the ground.
Please make it quick. Okay. Don't tase me.
Drop it. Drop it. Now.
So finally, I think I would have tased him as soon as I walked in the door. Finally, he tases him. Do you know, it makes absolutely no difference to this guy whatsoever. Despite him tasing him, makes no difference. That's scary in itself, isn't it?
Ow. Right in the face.
Drop it.
Right in the face.
Drop it.
Right in the face.
Drop it.
Right in the face. Come on.
Drop it.
You gotta do it, man. Right.
Drop
Right in the face.
the weight now.
Right in the face.
Drop the weight.
Right in the face.
Drop the weight.
Right in the face.
Drop the weight.
Responding officers attempted a rear entry to the building, but ultimately had to kick down the door to assist.
Subject is at gunpoint. You're in the squad.
Right in the face. Come on. Don't take me, man. Don't take me, man.
What? Drop the weight. He's listening to it. Get me. Get me. Give me your hand. Check that room. I got it. Someone get medical now. Call for medical.
According to a community briefing, despite being tased, Israel threw the brake rotor at the officer, prompting the officer to fire his handgun. This photo shows the damage caused by the rotor, which was allegedly just inches from hitting the officer. Israel allegedly continued to resist other officers, but was eventually taken into custody. Emergency medical services were immediately sent for Israel, and he survived the injuries. The 24-year-old officer was treated and released after minor injuries. The officer had 4 years of service at the time. A medical examiner.
Well, he had 4 years of, he's only 24 though. That's quite young, isn't it? I'm thinking about my son, who's older than him. And, you know, just like, you know, they're not, as Judge Judy would say, they're not cooked yet, are they? He should never have gone there on his own as a 24-year-old police officer for a welfare check where somebody else is living at the residence who's not even a family member. But even if it was a family member, you don't know what you're walking into. He should never have gone alone. He should never have gone alone. So anyway, as it says here, a medical examiner was called to assess the 75-year-old woman who had no signs of trauma. It seems likely that she did die of natural causes. But did she? Of course, we don't know. I mean, sometimes there are ways of killing elderly people like that. Pillows, I'm thinking of, and stuff where it wouldn't show any sign of trauma. But I don't think that he did kill her, because she was his meal ticket, wasn't she? So he knew if he would have killed her, it would have been, he knew it was the end of his comfortable life in her home. So I don't think he probably did kill her, but he was trying to, he didn't want people to find out she was dead, of course.
Was called to assess the 75-year-old woman who had no signs of trauma. It was later determined she died from lung cancer, though the exact time of death remains unclear. An investigation was opened to determine if the use of force was justified after the officer-involved shooting incident took place. During this investigation, the officer was placed on administrative leave.
I couldn't believe that. I forgot they'd only have to watch that body cam, wouldn't they? So, yeah, of course the use of force was justified. Of course it was.
On December 5th, 2022, roughly 3 weeks after the shooting, the Milwaukee County District Attorney found the use of force was justified. The officer will face no charges regarding this incident. For this incident, Israel was charged with 1 count of battery of a law enforcement officer, 1 count of resisting an officer, and 2 counts of bail jumping, which was linked to a $2,500 signature bond for prior disorderly conduct charges, according to news sources. In February 2023, the court determined he was incompetent to make decisions related to his case and assist with his defense. However, the court deemed he was a likely candidate to regain competency in his case. He was forced to participate in 62 days of competency restoration treatment, credited as jail time if sentenced. In May 2023, he remained incompetent, leading to extended treatment. By late July 2023, the court declared him competent and set a $5,000 cash bond. In August 2023, he pled not guilty and posted the $5,000 cash bond in September after 10 months in custody. Though the case was prepared for trial, in February 2024, 15 months after the incident, the state dismissed all charges and refunded his bail. However, in March 2024, he was recharged for the same incident with 1 count of attempting to disarm a peace officer, 1 count of resisting or obstructing an officer, and 1 count of bail jumping. A $5,000 signature bond was set in April 2024, and in June, he pled not guilty once again. At the time of posting this video, the case remains pending. Additionally, Israel currently faces separate, unrelated charges for stalking and violating a restraining order in relation to domestic abuse.
So he's a real nice guy, isn't he? So he's, whatever he did or didn't do there, and I think that policeman is lucky not to have been killed, because he said to him, "Don't make me kill you." He was asking the policeman to shoot him in the face. Because he knew that he had nowhere to go. He had nowhere to go. Probably prison was preferable. At least prison, he gets 3 meals a day and a roof over his head. So he's a domestic abuser. He's just the real charmer. How did he end up living in that poor lady's house? Poor Dorothy.
Along with felony bail jumping.
Now, when police receive calls for a check on the well-being, it's often a very delicate situation. And though we do use compassion, we also have to respond with caution, because as usual, police enter these situations knowing very little. And I've responded to many welfare check calls, and most times the person was either asleep or not home. But on that rare occasion, unfortunately, the end result wasn't always a happy ending. So today we're in Milwaukee and we have a concerned neighbor calling 911 so police can do a welfare check to check on a 75-year-old woman who lives with a 31-year-old man who isn't a family member. Now, this is an immediate cause for concern for me, because when you have a random person living with someone who isn't related to them, it could be just me, but this is extremely suspect.
Of course it is. So straight away, that policeman should not have gone there alone. That was immediately suspect. It's bad enough if they were living with a family member, but why was this elderly woman living with a young man like that?
Because many people like to take advantage of the elderly. We do see it a lot. And then we learned that the male living with this woman has an extensive criminal history, which is never good. So my question is, how did this male even end up living here? The male actually opened the door for the officer and everything appeared okay for the moment, until the male picked up the 20-pound brake rotor and then placed it in front of the door, blocking the exit of the apartment. And his explanation was,
it makes you wonder why he opened the door for the policeman. Was he a lot of people do this self-deletion by cop, deliberately try and get a policeman to shoot them and kill them because they haven't got the guts to do it to themselves. And they call it self-deletion by cop, don't they? So maybe that's what he wanted. Why did he even let the policeman in? And then he picked up that thing and took it in the room with him. He was obviously planning to use it as a weapon.
Because the door swings open. And just as a side note, in the academy, officers are usually trained to never allow your exit to be obstructed because you may have to make a quick exit. But at this point, as I'm watching this, the hairs on the back of my neck started to stand up because the male first states that Dorothy is on the bed. But once the light came on, the male states that Dorothy was right next to the officer the entire time. But here's the thing, Dorothy isn't alive anymore. And the male apparently knew that during this entire interaction because that's exactly what he whispered to this officer. Now, if you guys are paying attention, this guy gives away multiple signs that he wasn't going to go quiet. Now, the first one is he didn't turn all the way around when the officer gave him an order. And the second, he keeps watching the officer. And the last, he actually pulls away when the officer initially tries to cuff him. And these are all warning signs. And I cannot stress how dangerous this is because the officer is in this apartment with the door closed with a mentally unstable male. And that quick, as the officer tries to cuff him, the officer's in a fight because all we hear is the officer yelling to stop resisting because the body cam has fallen off. And this interaction just got more disturbing as it progressed. Now, this officer had to yell to stop to this male over 11 times and drop the weight numerous times and then still had to fire his weapon. But thankfully, this officer was not hurt and his backup showed up right on time. However, this male is extremely dangerous, and although the deceased had no trauma, in my opinion, he should not have been living there. But lastly, this is just another example of how a simple check on a well-being call can turn into a fight for survival. But this officer did great, and he didn't receive any charges for his actions. So it's definitely a win in my book.
So yeah, I mean, ultimately, the officer did well because he's still alive for a start. He didn't kill the guy. The guy wanted him to kill him. And why should it, then that would be just more problems for the officer. So I expect he's learnt from that, though. He's back, I presume he's back being a police person now. But this is just these body cams. They're just, I'll be looking for more interesting body cams to show you. It's interesting to watch it together, isn't it, and make comments. And I do think we should never forget, law enforcement, whatever country they're in, as much as we might criticize them, and we know they're not perfect, and sometimes they're heavy-handed, sometimes they do things wrong, but we mustn't forget that they do risk their lives literally every day. Even a routine traffic stop, something like anything can turn out to be a life or death situation. So, I think we have to sort of respect that. But anyway, okay, I'm going. So, I've got some big things coming up, but the most important thing at the moment that we're going to be doing is this Sunday. I've got to think of a name for it. I'm going to put a community post out inviting names. I want to cut, it'd be Sunday service, but it'd be like Sunday service positivity, something like that. If you've got any suggestions, let me know by email or on comments. But yeah, we want a suitable name, and I'm really looking forward to that on Sunday. And in the meantime, of course, there'll probably be other videos coming out, and there's one particular case I'm going to really concentrate on over the next few days, weeks, however long it takes, and you'll get to know about that soon. So thank you so much. I'll see you really soon in the next video, and as always, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe if you want to, of course, and I'll see you really soon in the next video, and until then, may your God go with you. Bye and thank you.